Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yeah, you bet your life it has. What's Somalia got to do with the amount of wine we drink? Somalia can mind their own blooming business. It's got nothing to do with them. Parts of Britain were hit by major flood. There's just so much I want to get to. I'm never going to get to it all in a brief 3-hour show. But this is the task I set myself.
Stop whining.
Parts of Britain were hit by major flooding this week. Major flooding this week. Get Somalia on the phone. We'll see what they think. Parts of Britain were hit by major flooding this week as heavy rain and strong winds from a storm moved in from France, causing chaos and a mini tornado which smashed through a housing estate. A storm from France.
No!
Storm Aurora. It brought more than 2 inches of rain and 70-mile-an-hour winds in Her Majesty's superior imperial measurements. Not for us the ease of multiplying and dividing by 10. No, we would rather multiply and divide by 12 and 16, because that is the patriotic British way. The Met Office said the storm dealt a glancing blow to southern England, but if that was a glancing blow, I'd hate to see what a full meteorological punch in the mouth would look like. It absolutely bucketed down. We don't seem to get showers or rain puddles anymore, do we? We get storms and tornadoes and floods. Have you noticed? It used to be that we just get mist and mizzle and a bit of drich. But now it's just, blimey, it's like the end of the world every time it starts raining. Not that it's got anything to do with global warming, because that is, that's fake news. Fake news by the liberal media who just want you to buy more umbrellas or something. I've got no idea. Nothing makes sense anymore. Still, I'm sure that the world's leaders who gather in Glasgow will soon organise a way to stop global warming straight away. It'll be all blah, blah, blah. A greeter. The Met Office said the unsettled weather was likely to continue for the rest of the week, with showers and breezy conditions across western Scotland and central and northern England and Wales, but mostly western Scotland. I betcha. Checking while you wait. Aha! Not raining at the moment. Pfft, rubbish. Raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday. This is Glasgow. Raining on Saturday, raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and raining on Friday. I'm not making this up. Raining on Friday, and raining next Saturday, and raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and not raining on Thursday the 4th. Are you kidding me? I bet it does. Raining every single day until Thursday the 4th. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Forecasters predict more persistent rain over the weekend, with the heaviest rain expected to be... Exactly. Where up to 2.4 inches could fall in 24 hours. And to go from inches to metric measurements for all you traitors out there, you double it and add 32 to get metres. So 2.4 inches times 2 is 10, plus 32 is 42. Wow. Western Scotland could get 42 metres of rain this weekend. Can you believe that? Of course, driving conditions are quite hairy under these conditions, which is 2 uses of the word conditions in the same sentence, which is a big mistake. Huge. A spokesmodel for Surrey Police said, "Sorry to keep repeating ourselves, but drive to the conditions. Slow down and increase your stopping distance." And everyone in a hatchback said, "What a funny spokesmodel," they said. Tonight, few light showers in the west, clear spells elsewhere, frost in the north, few fog patches in the southeast. Wherever that is. Saturday, windy, cloudy, rainy, sunny. Yeah, that sounds like a day in Britain. Windy, cloudy, rainy, sunny. Outlook for Sunday to Tuesday. Rain on Sunday, then sunshine and showers on Monday, locally heavy, perhaps thundery, lightning-y, very, very frightening-y. Temperatures becoming milder by Tuesday. Do you want to hear the long-range forecast till the end of the 3rd week in November?
No.
Right, this is till bonfire night. On Wednesday, Rain across the centre of the country. Fine and dry weather to the south. Bright spells in the north, but a risk of showers. Then, heavy rain and strong winds. Temperatures generally around average. Wettest in the west. Where? In the west of Spain, I'm talking about, and the west of this country as well. Driest in the south. And then, the middle 2 weeks of November. Oh my God, it's almost December. It's practically Jesus' birthday. I saw Christmas decorations on my drive in.
What?
Christmas decorations, yes. Too early. Too early, people. You've gone too soon. Pull it back a bit. Another month. Can we wait another, just one more, 4 weeks? Can you wait 4 weeks?
No.
No. It's in you and it's got to come out. It's a tinsel-gasm across some of the places that I drove past today. They just can't wait another moment. So, anyway, this is the middle 2 weeks of November. I mean, this is the last chance for it to be nice before we get locked indoors for 5 months. Because, the clocks are going back. It's a couple of weeks, isn't it? Yeah. The dying of the light. It's going to be dark at 4:30 in the afternoon. What? 4:30 in a couple of weeks. I can't stand it. And why? Because 6 cow farmers in the north of Scotland don't want to squeeze teats in the dark. I am stunned. Every single year. I explain myself.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
And what's the blooming point? It must be 99.9% of the people in this country don't want the clocks to go back, but they go back anyway. Yeah, thanks a lot, Bodge.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So, the middle 2 weeks of November. Have I got past this bit yet? It's November already. Last chance before we get locked in for 5 months. Right. Prepare yourselves. Good luck, everyone. Fingers crossed. From early to mid-November, there's an increasing chance of settled weather, and temperatures are likely to be warmer than average for most. From early to mid-November, there's an increasing chance of settled weather, and temperatures are likely to be warmer than average for most. We'll take it. 0345 6060 973. Alex texts, that storm sounds like someone from Northern Ireland talking. You're not going to make me do it. I won't. I just won't do it. Haley tweets, hold up, since when did Looking Up the Weather theme tune change? Well, I thought I'd, mix it up a bit. Because Edelweiss, or whatever that song that I normally do, that was the girl from Ipanema. That's been on heavy rotation for a good long while now, and people are getting a bit, boring. Getting a little bored of it. How many times can you hear Girl of Ipanema? So I thought I'd, I've forgotten how the song goes. I just sang the first one that occurred to me. You're lucky I didn't hum 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, which has just been going around and around my brain for about 3 or 4 days now. I wake up with that song, and I go to sleep with that song, and for most of the intervening period when I'm awake, that song's just rattling around my mind.
Rock and roll!
Must be 50. In fact, we should play that right now. Get on the bus, Gus. Take a new stand. Stan? I don't know. Paul says, Panto season comes early as Jacob Rees-Mogg plays back end of the horse again. That's how I think of him. Shouts of behind you. Oh, shouts of you behind you are repeatedly heard. That's getting a bit complicated, Paul. You should just left it at horse. 0345 6060 973. I want to talk about masks. I want to talk about smug. And the New Zealand deal and proportional representation and fat vouchers. Yeah, you heard. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Oh, and I'll be causing offence to Portugal later. Lately, I've been causing offence to Portugal, mostly lately. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Up.
I can't. 0345 6060 973. That does remind me, by the way, I'll say this really early so I can get it out of the way. I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, the idea of the podcast is we intend to help people. That's right, isn't it, Carol?
Yeah.
We are in the business of helping because we care, yes?
No.
If you would like us to have a bash at your issue, then you need to tell us what it is. We're not mind readers. Send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That's NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare for a mild degree of satisfaction. The podcast is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? You can find it where you get good podcasts. If you download Global Play, you'll find it on it. In it! Just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, and everything will become clear as a bell. Concert. Hello, Sean.
Barney Rubble's got to go now, Barney Rubble Johnson's got to go now. We cannot put up with this half-wit any longer. The doctors are going on strike. Everything's going on strike.
I think
we just can't put up with it.
Well, yeah. There's a significant number of people up with which there is no limit to which they put up.
I mean, COVID's going up again, man. You know what I mean? The country's in dire bloody straits for this half-wit.
Mm-hmm. But don't,
you know what I mean? We can't put up with this any longer.
Sean, don't sit on the fence. Tell me what you think.
I think he's got to go. I think he's got to go as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying himself too much. I
think we can't put it. You're going to get the likes of Brian and everybody on the night saying, that Sean,
yeah,
Sean's an idiot and all that.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot, the country's in dire straits, mate. Yeah. We're finished.
It is correctamundo, Sean, and it's not getting any better. No, I think his act is getting really old. But like I said, really falteringly, and there were enough words there to complete a whole sentence. It's just not in the order in which I put them. There is a significant number of people up with which there is no limit to what they will put. I can't do it. No limit to what they'll put up with. See, I didn't want to end the sentence on the word with. Up with which they will not put. There is no limit up with which they will not put. More or less makes sense. Hey, it makes as much sense as anything else will over the next 2 hours and 40 minutes. Paul says, Nick, we received our first Christmas card this week, nearly 10 weeks before Christmas. I can't believe it, says Paul. Paul, believe it. People want to get their Christmas fun in before Bodger cancels it. Joanne texts, are you pleased to see that Bodge has made good use of the £2 million daily briefing room by watching a screening of the new Bond film? What? Yes. Can you believe that? Talk about rubbing our faces in it. He spent £2 million, and if they say 2 million, then it was probably 5 million. £5 million of our money on tarting up an already existing room. I mean, what did they use as paint? It's not like they had to build a house around the room. The room already existed, and they spent £5 million on it. 2 million, so they say. It's amazing. I mean, they just have no... they're just not bothered. It's not their money. Why do they care? It's our money. And have you heard? There is a significant amount of people up with which they will not... forget it. He's got his own personal Bond screening. I mean, you can't get into that film without queuing and sitting all hugger-mugger with 1,000 other mouth breathers panting down your neck with their feet on the back of your seats, talking on their phones, describing the entire film in detail as it's going on down their phones to somebody who's not there. Oh, look at that.
Disgusting.
You know. He's got his own showing, personal showing of a Bond film, the new one, in a room we paid for. Sanj texts, I see Trump's new media platform is called Truth. Yes. It should be anything but the truth, says Sanj. Did you come up with that material all by yourself, Sanj? Yeah, I think everybody on Earth got that. Truth. Can you believe that? What an absolute character he is.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, and I mean that in the nastiest possible way. Truth. And all of his, his yeehaw fans, they absolutely love it for one reason.
I love the poorly educated.
That's it. 0345 6060 973. He'll be, shall I make an early prediction? He's going to be the next president of the United States of America. And all of our lives will be over about for 5 days afterwards, when he comes personally for each and every person who has discombobulated him in the intervening period, since he was chucked out on his ear. Every single person who said anything negative about him in any way, shape or form is on his list. Jake tweets, all the early Jesus birthday decorations are Jeremy Corbyn's fault. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jezza. You see what you've done? Chiswick, hello, Tamsin.
Oh, good evening, sir. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you for making your call.
Oh, God bless you. I just wanted to say...
God's got nothing to do with it, Tamsin.
I know. I'd just like to say happy birthday to my father, who is a literal sole listener of your station and listens to you 24 hours a day. So thank you for bringing a lot to his life.
Right.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
No.
And Bojo, he can just take a...
Thank you. You see, it was all going so nicely. We were just, wishing people the best of the day. And we almost broke into a union chorus of happy birthday in celebration of a life well lived. And he liked this station, and perhaps he, is listening right now. And we're all wishing him a happy birthday. And then it all went negative. All went very, very negative. Just at the end there, piling onto Bodger. What has Bodger Johnson ever done to us? Actually, what has Bodger Johnson ever done for us? That could fill literally the time between now and the news, which is like about 2.5 minutes. Most of that time will be like long, stretched out arms. Can't think of a thing. Not one single solitary thing so far, apart from the occasional amusement, but more just bemusement. Now that he's in a position of power over us, that the act remains the same. It's a little disappointing. Really, Bodge? Is that all you've got? Is it as thin as that?
Yeah. Wait.
I guess so. Gary says, here, a good old British measure for you. Petrol at £1.50 a litre times 4.5 is £6.75 per gallon. Is it? £6.75 a gallon. Wow. That's almost as expensive as printer ink. Jim emails, Nick, I was born in the 1950s in Scotland. Well, I assume it's the 1950s. It just says 50s. Could have been the 1850s. I was born in the 50s in Scotland, and we were told we had daylight savings, so the kids didn't have to walk to school in the dark. Kids don't walk to school now. Their parents drive them in their four-wheel drive tanks. Yeah, the flip side of that, though, of course, is that kids would have to walk home from school in the dark. It's one or the other. I'll just nutshell it for you. Here's the reason that the clock shouldn't go back. It's got nothing to do with kids being in the dark, because they'll either be in the dark when they go to school, or they'll be in the dark when they come back from school. And all the schools are going to close soon anyway, and we'll get sent back indoors to think about what we've done. I can't believe it. It's like blooming merry-go-round. Here we are back at this point again. With the Invisible Menace. The reason that the clock shouldn't go back is because it gives people an extra hour of light during a time of the day that they can't use it. You can't use an extra hour of light in the morning. What are you going to do with it? Brush your teeth in the early morning light? Just put the blooming light on in the bathroom. You'll be able to see. But if you give people an hour at the end of the day, when they can use it, when they come back from work and it's not the pitch black in the dark and they go indoors for the next 5 months, then people might actually go outside. Hear a beautiful bird. Where is it? Oh, there. Commune with nature. That's the reason I thought we were supposed to be getting healthy. Being indoors for the next 5 months is not healthy. Encourage us to get out. Give us what the entire nation wants. And do not call me and tell me that this is not what the British people want. Which is, a thing that we hear from this government all the blooming time. Every time they tell us about something that we don't want, they say that this is what the British people have voted for. No, it isn't. Whatever it is you're saying, this is not what the British people voted for. Oh, well, we knew what we were voting for. No, you didn't. Yeah, but that's the reason. But what's the point? I mean, you say this every year that I've been on the radio, which is, God, I've got no idea. Blooming dog's age. Every single year this moment comes around and we look at our impending gloom and we all say the same thing. Why? Why is this always happening to us? Just leave the blooming clocks where they are. But, no one's listening, so never mind. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Oh, hello.
Andy emails, Mr. Moggy quotes, we know each other so we don't have to wear masks. How is it that the highly educated can't say I? As in, we know each other so I don't have to wear a mask. Yeah, probably exactly that or thereabouts.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Carol says, hi Nick, we got our turkey for Christmas today and now we've got to house train it. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
Tina says, did you know that one of my favourite singer-songwriters, Paul Simon, got the inspiration for the song Mother and Child Reunion from being served a meal of chicken with a fried egg on top? Huh. And I thought, rubbish. And then I looked it up, and it's completely correct in every respect. Apart from the fact that Mother and Child Reunion is how it was described on a Chinese restaurant menu, apparently. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Just get on the bus, Gus. Make a new plan, Stan. Ooh, I'm on a roll. And listen to me. Listen to me. How do they remember all these lyrics? I mean, it's just mystifying. How do comedians remember all their stuff? I just saw a Chris Rock show on TV. I've seen it before, but it's like an hour and 20 minutes of him just pacing up and down the stage, just firing off this all this material. How do they remember it? I can't remember what I did yesterday. How can they remember all that stuff? It's a mystery, as Toya used to say. Let's have Yorkshire, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Are you well?
Yes, very well, thanks.
Quickly on to smug. That was the most supercilious, sneering set of remarks about the Tory party. But he was commenting on the opposition, saying, they can't like each other very much.
Yeah, that was his point, yeah.
God, it was even worse than if I'd been in the towering inferno. I would have used my common sense and I would have got it. I mean, that was appalling. But
it's worse.
The tone of this was worse.
Well, it's actually not worse, but it's of the type. Yeah, it's just that man. I mean, really, other countries must be guffawing at us. He is one of our elected representatives. Can you believe it?
I mean, if someone had tried to get him into Faulty Towers, they'd have rejected it as being completely unreasonable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's just a cartoon character, and he's been a cartoon character his entire life. Who is voting for it? I want the names of the people who keep that man in power.
It's absolutely crazy. But did you notice this week that talk about short-termism? Countries have been lobbying the United Nations Climate Commission.
Yes.
Brazil and Argentina want them to take out that meat products are damaging the climate.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, Australia and India want them to take out that fossil fuels are a serious danger.
Yes.
I mean, this is just short-term selfishness, and they're not even ruled by Johnson. Not all of them.
Short-termism is what will do for humankind, because nobody wants to make a sacrifice in the short term, even if it's a small one, for a benefit in the longer term. We're not remotely interested in that. So we will do something about global climate change when the waters are lapping at the underside of our nostrils, and not before. Well, only when it's too late will we actually do something.
Absolutely. And talking about being too late when we do something, how come is it that Johnson's saying, COVID rates are terrible, they're going up, but they're fitting in with what we predicted?
This is our plan.
Does that make it okay that there's 130 deaths a day? I mean, it's like their policy with floods. Yeah, they're not doing great things, floods. And then when they say, floods are predicted and they've happened. So that seems, is that all right then? No, of course it's not all right.
Well, it depends on what you mean by all right. If you mean, will they still be able to maintain their grip on power? Yes, because they know that there's a significant minority of people in this country that will vote for them regardless, because they pinned their hope on them. They were promised a better life, and they're going to stick with them until they get it.
Absolutely, and we've got to keep our time change, and I'll tell you why, Nick. Because Europe has decided that they're not going to have the time change anymore. They're going to leave their clocks as they are throughout the year. So wait a minute. Are you changing ours? Because we're British, damn it.
We're British, damn it. Are you sure about that? Because I know that it was mooted a little while ago, but I didn't know that it was definitely going to happen.
It was signed off unless it's been rescinded, but they did come to an agreement on it. Well, so they're going to stay the same the year round, and we're going to keep our Britishness.
Well, isn't that great? Thanks a lot for the bad news, Mike. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. I can't believe it. So those evil French and German and Belgian people and people from other countries in Europe, which I can't recall off the top of my head, but I'll certainly look up later. Those people are going to get extra light. Well, that's just great. Meanwhile, we meanwhile will be stuck in the dark ages. Literally. That's where we're headed. We're headed into the dark ages. Dave texts, so how much would a 6 pound pint of lager be by the gallon? What are you asking me for? I think the correct answer is too blooming much. How can lager be £6? How can it be £6? How can a pint of lager be £6? Answer the question. Stephen emails, I saw Bodge tonight on the news and he was smirking all the way through the interview. He said there was nothing in the data that would lead him to introduce any new restrictions. That's 50,000 daily infections and 1,000 deaths a week. Lockdown incoming then. They do smirk. He and every single one of his enablers around him, they just can't stop smirking. A smirk should be the logo of the Conservative Party. Well, I mean, it practically is. Every time they show up on TV, there they are, doing their utmost to suppress a laugh. And I suspect that the reason is because to them this is a game. It's a game of making money and holding on to power and getting things done and your future secured by, by doling out favours to friends and acquaintances. And but it more than anything, it tells me that they know they're getting away with it, much to their amazement and amusement. There doesn't seem to be any amount of abuse up with which we will not put. Finally, it's taken me 45 minutes to get that sentence right. up with which we will not put.
Affirmative.
No limits no limits to the amount of abuse. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Smirking their way right the way through this pandemic and right the way through the economic misery that they have visited upon us for no apparent benefits whatsoever. Zero. The rest of the world can't believe it. Well, the 60-odd% of the population that don't vote Tory can't believe it. What we done to deserve this, they say. That's the latest smirking minister. Smarms their way across our TV screen, just doling out statistics. They just seem to be a numbers-spewing machine. Oh, well, of course, it's like £3 million more than last year and 52% more than there was under a Labour government and 83% of the 15 to 19-year-olds. And it's just like numbers and numbers and numbers and numbers. And any time their inquisitor tries to pose a question, tries to stop this stream of digital verbiage coming out of them, they just talk louder. And then, and if they can't think of anything to say, they'll just start saying and just to shut their inquisitor up, just as they can take up as much airtime as possible until their allotted space on that program is over, and they can stop spewing out this stuff. God, it's painful to listen to. But on a lighter note, 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
You're joking.
0345 6060 973. There's nothing funny about it, dear. Susie tweets, I thought the clock went back and forward for the farmers in the war. I must have been in school that day. Yeah, you accidentally learnt something there, Susie. It probably was. I mean, in much the same way as the pubs used to shut at lunch so that people would go back to work in the afternoon. That sort of thing. Yeah, but we're not at war anymore, despite what you will hear from, certain individuals who just cannot stop going on about it.
I'm a nutcase.
Russia and America won that one for us. It's over. Tom tweets, we keep our clocks on British summertime all year round. Sure, we're an hour late for everything, but at least we can enjoy an extra hour of daylight at the end of the day. Well, that makes perfect sense, Tom. And this says, if we said the EU came up with the idea of moving the clocks back and forward, then it would soon be cancelled. Yeah, no doubt. Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Tydfil. Hello, James.
Yeah, hiya, Nick.
James.
Well, I was just going to pull you up on something else, but I thought you'd pull you up on that. So Russia and America saved the United Kingdom in the Second World War, did they?
I believe they won the Second World War.
So we had no effect in North Africa and Italy, and the largest amount of troops going across on D-Day were British soldiers, but we had nothing in it.
Well, James, that's a bit of a stretch from America.
No, it's a fact,
and it's a bit of a stretch from me saying America and Russia won the war to we had no effect in it.
They didn't win the war for us, Nick.
Yes, they did.
We were a joint
won the
partner in
war.
it.
America and Russia won the war, James.
Where did they win it then? Well, you be specific, Nick. What battles did they win that we weren't part of?
James, I'm not a history buff, but I do know that
because
Russia and the weather defeated Hitler.
Nick,
what?
The Tories are living in your head rent-free. When are you going to start asking for some rent, Nick?
Is this you trying to be funny now?
No, I'm being serious. You're an absolute...
Okay. Is this him being serious? Another exercised lever. Why is it that the most furious callers are all leavers, are all Tory supporters? They're Tory supporting leavers. Now, they won the Leave vote and they've got a Tory government. You'd think they'd be happy, but they're not. They're all still furious, like apoplectic, but in a boiling rage continuously. It's odd, isn't it? I mean, I've taken, half a dozen calls so far on this show from people who I would assume have lost both of those votes. They got taken out of the European Union against their wishes, and they are suffering under a Conservative government again, against their wishes, as are the majority of the people in this country who voted for another party. And yet, people like him, who think they've won something, are absolutely furious. They're beside themselves. That's the part of this that I just don't get. I mean, I could get if they came on and said, no, because that's the sort of level that we're at now. That you lost, get over it. You hear that a lot. But it's just the boiling anger that's still there. I mean, how much more winning do you need? You've got the government you wanted. You've got out of the European Union. You've got everything you ever dreamed of. Why still so angry? I mean, what's the matter with you? It is a mystery. I can sort of make a case for everything else that's happened. A government that doesn't mind about pretty much anything other than clinging on to power and making money, and that's just human nature. I mean, actually doing a job to help others is sort of bizarre behaviour. Human nature is acting for your own personal interests in this moment, and that's what we've got. So it's no big surprise. It would kind of be a surprise if it was the other way around. But for them to still be so angry, it really is. It just it defies understanding. I just don't get it. And you ask them, why are you so angry? And they'll say, it's because people like me keep pointing out facts. Like Brexit's not going very well. Like we were lied to about, pretty much everything about Brexit. Clothes were going to be cheaper. Food was going to be cheaper. We're going to get £350 million a week for the NHS. We're going to be fewer foreigners. And wages were going to rise. And all of these jobs that they did before we kicked them out, we grateful British persons would leap in to do them for us, keep the country going patriotically. But none of that's true. 0% of what we were told has actually come to pass. You'd think they'd be angry about that, but no. They're angry about people pointing out those facts. I just don't get it. I really don't. Sociologists will be working on this from now until the end of time, trying to unpick these furiously flung around thoughts. And maybe it is just that they realise there's a certain realisation that they've been had. I mean, you can't really get to this point now and still believe that Brexit's the best thing for this country. That the Conservative government is, the best thing for this country in this moment of great peril. Because of all of the evidence that's piled up. I mean, you'd have to be deaf and blind not to realise that in a certain sense you've been had. All of the things that they told you were going to happen haven't. In fact, the opposite's happened. But they're not angry at the people that told that to them, that lied to them, that got their votes under false pretenses. They're not angry with them at all. They support them even more. They dug their heels in all the more. What they're really angry about is people who are just pointing out facts. That we're losing about, I don't know, what is it? Instead of £350 million a week for the NHS, we're actually losing as a country about £800 million a week so far with Brexit. Just pouring out of the country. Just ask a business that used to sell to Europe how they're doing. Ask the fishermen how they're doing. The most patriotic business of all, actually flying the flag off the back of their boats, picking British fish out of British waters, and they were going to have more fish, and they were going to be happier fish, because they were going to be British fish. Oh my God, that bloke. And the farmers being upended by whatever deal that we make with New Zealand. Of course, not inked yet, even though they've told us that it's all sealed and delivered. It isn't, but never mind. Those are just facts as well. It is genuinely puzzling why they're so furiously, fist-clenchingly, spittle-flecked, eyes bulgingly furious. Explain it to me, I double dare you. Other than, there is a realisation they've been had, and to admit it is too much loss of face. Is that really it? Because if that is it, God, that's pathetic. I mean, I'm sorry, but for a grown-up, that's really sad. But I wish that bloke would call back, because, I'd like to chat some more. Trev texts, "Dear Nick, you'll feel much better about things if you call him Sasha Johnson, just like his Russian chums do." There's a thick seam of Russian influence that seems to go right through British society like words through Blackpool Rock. Curious. Craig emails, "I've heard the clocks are going back soon and I'm panicking because I can't find the receipt." Oh, a listener with material. Oh, no. And Michaela says, "I remember the 60s when the clocks did not go back. It was a thoroughly miserable time of year. People cheered when the experiment ended." No, they didn't. What are you talking about? An extra hour of light in the evening, and people were miserable about that. You're talking rubbish, Michaela. Of course, she was remembering something that happened in the 60s.
Want to score some pot?
That might have had something to do with it. Perhaps. Inquiring minds are keen to find out. What's the truth, Michaela? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're furiously angry, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Bodger Johnson working 52 weeks a year. We're lucky if we get him 52 hours a year. What is he talking about? Gary texts, question, how long does a turkey last in the freezer? I was told about 3 months, but mine was... I did not see that coming. Oh, it's another person with material. Oh, no. Question, how long does a turkey last in the freezer? I was told it's about 3 months, but mine was dead the following morning. Oh, my God. That's the last joke I want to hear on this show. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Steve tweets, Nick, we will have a light shortage in this country from the end of the month. Can't Europe transport some over to us, seeing as they have more of it? See if Bodge can sort that one. We could get that bloke that I was talking to, that nice man that I was talking to about 15 minutes ago. We could get him back on the phone and he could light up this country with the incandescence of his rage. Simon tweets, it's apparently £8 a pint in Soho. It can't be true. £8?
What?
£8 a pint. I've never heard the like of it in my life. I refuse to believe that. What is the name of the establishment that is charging £8 a pint? Mind you, he has spelt Soho with a capital S and a capital H, so maybe he's talking about south of Houston in New York. That I could believe. York. Hello, Ray.
Evening, Nick. How are you doing? All right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. I heard you mention earlier about the comedian you saw, and you was impressed about how long he went by, and not forgetting his lines or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty easy if you've made it up yourself, and you do a bit of rehearsing, which you only have to do a minimal amount if you made it up yourself. It's a double because I do it myself.
In what capacity do you do it yourself?
In what capacity?
Yeah. What do you do?
I'm about to do it myself, I should say, but I know I can do over an hour with the amount of material I've got, and I'll just find it a double because I've learned it myself, because I've thought of it myself. I think if you think of it yourself, rather than rehearsing someone else's material, it's a different thing.
I sort of get it, but not really. Not remembering
an hour and a... That's how I find it so easy. I'll be doing over an hour.
Ray, but you just told me you haven't done it yet.
No, but I know how much material I've got and how long it's going to take to get through. And it'll be over an hour, and I won't fluff my lines, I know that.
Well, you don't know that.
I do know that because I've tried open mics at musical open mics at various places.
Right, so you have done it.
No, I've tried various excerpts from it. I haven't tried my proper routine now. I've just tried little excerpts out in front of people that go in for music, so it doesn't work.
So how does it start then?
Oh, no, not on national radio, not a start. I'm sorry. No.
You can't use your precious material up on this show. I understand. All right, appreciate it, Ray. No, I don't buy that. I've got no idea how people learn all that stuff. I mean, I know it might be easier, or I can understand why it might be easier if you've written it yourself. But still, it's like an hour and a half of material. How can you remember where one joke comes after the other? It's just it's a mystery. And it's one of the reasons that I'm not very keen on plays. Because I just sit there, gripped with, I can't get past the fear that they're going to forget their lines and how awful that will make me feel. I'm sorry if this sounds selfish, but it's me. Absolutely fabulous. My favourite line from that show. Steve tweets, no, I've read that. And I've read the thing about £8 a pint in Soho. What? Can't be. Who would pay that? £8 a pint. That's 16 quid. That's £42 for two people having 2 pints. Can you believe that?
No.
York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you tonight?
I'm great, mate.
Very good. Now then, I just wish that Boris Johnson would stop messing about and just say that masks wearing is mandatory. What do you think?
I think I have the answer as to why he and they, his enablers, are not wearing masks.
Why is that?
Well, leave that with me, and I'll come to that in a minute.
Right.
Have you noticed that people aren't wearing masks much out?
Yeah, definitely not. Not like they used to do.
No.
Certainly not.
I think we're pretending to ourselves that it's over.
And what Rees Mogg said the other day, that was absolutely crazy, wasn't it?
That guy.
I mean, just because you're friendly with someone, the virus doesn't know that, does it?
Yeah, I think people were concentrating on the wrong thing. He wasn't. He's not stupid enough to actually think that you can't catch it off somebody you know. He was just making a supercilious, superior, condescending point to somebody in another party who is not as friendly and not suffused with bonhomie like the Tory party apparently is. They aren't, but that was his point.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
and I see Johnson now is just saying that we should be cautious. Well, that is a stupid thing to say, because surely he knows very well that most people won't be cautious, will they?
Yeah, plus, what does that even mean?
People won't.
Yeah.
I can't get it at all. I really can't.
There's not much that's happened this year, or last year, to that matter, that actually makes any sense. No. No,
none of it does really, does it? I don't know. And another thing,
another thing.
Were you going to say something?
Well, I was. Because the one of the podcasts that I do is called the Nick Abbot Habit, and that's of old shows. And the period that I'm taking the clips from, it comes out on Monday. It's just best of concentrated funny bits. The period that I'm taking them from is January last year, just when we were hearing for the first time about this strange disease in China, but it hadn't actually touched us yet.
That's right. I heard it the other day. I listen every week.
Do you? And it's really bizarre listening to how we were talking about that then, not knowing what was coming.
I know. If only we'd known, eh?
If only, we'd have all upped sticks and moved to New Zealand.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. And what about all these reshuffles they keep having? I've never understood those, because how can someone jump into a new job and know what they're doing straight away?
Yeah, well, they don't.
That doesn't make sense, does it?
At all. That's what the civil service is there for, to actually run things while you've got a bunch of clowns waving their arms around and spouting spurious statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you be head of education one day and head of transport the next? And having no experience of either. It's ridiculous.
exactly. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
I don't know. I
So,
think somebody...
presumably, none of these people have any control or power of any kind whatsoever, and they're just a bunch of nodding dogs that to do whatever the bodge says.
Yeah, I think they are. I don't know. I don't know. It just makes me mad. Really does.
Well, you fit right in.
I can't believe it. When I sometimes watch the Parliament thing, not often, but just a few times. I just can't believe the way they carry on.
Yes, it is hard to believe that those people are actually in charge of all of us.
Yeah, the way they mess about and shout and jeer at each other. Oh dear.
But they're having fun, Jan. That's the sound of them having fun at our expense, smirking because they know they're getting away with it.
Yeah, I wish they'd stop it and get on with some work.
That's a good thought. All right, thanks a lot, Jan. Yeah, they should stay after class. See me later. Oh dear. Paul texts, taxi for Johnson. COVID infections going up in Cornwall and medical centres rammed, ambulances in their droves parked up. Johnson, everything's cool, man. We don't listen to the scientists anymore. Well, Johnson, come December, it will be 70,000 and 300 to 400 deaths a day. Taxi for Johnson, says Paul. Very insistent. That taxi's got a waiting charge. The clock's ticking, Bodger. Stephen emails, yes, it's true that the EU Parliament proposed staying at GMT plus 2 hours all year round, but the measure was never brought into law because of COVID. But at least we too will have another hour in bed on the 1st of November. No, we won't. We'll wake up at the same time. I mean, you don't just lie in bed when you're awake, do you? You get up. Well, I suppose I guess it's entirely possible that people do. Plus, it'll be a Sunday, so it won't really make never mind. 4:30, it's going to get dark. Oh, Struth, it's come around too quick. Jim says, Nick, asked James if he's celebrating the New Zealand trade deal that's going to put Welsh hill farmers out of business. Who's James? Who's James?
James? Oh, the Welsh one.
The Welsh one? Oh, the guy who was furiously angry. Him.
That's the one.
Right, okay. Well, the guy the guy who came on and said, yeah, his head was exploding. Russia and America won the war. We were there, but we didn't win the war. If it hadn't been for them, we'd be speaking German right now. Ja? Phil tweets, hi Nick, I voted Leave against my better judgment, but I will not vote Tory. I'm a Labour supporter, says Phil. Well, good for you, Phil. Paul says, let me just get an overview of where I am, because I see all of these messages are cut and pasted onto my little scrolling screen here, and I only see about the first top two without scrolling down, and I usually get to the end of the show and I start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and there's about a mile's worth of messages that I haven't read yet. So I'm going to try and keep on top of it because I'm a good boy, I am. Paul says, Britain returned to British summertime after the war except for an experiment between 1968 and 71 when the clocks went forward but were not put back. The experiment was discontinued as it was found impossible to assess the advantages and disadvantages of British summertime. That's just nonsense. The advantage is that we all get an extra hour of light in the evening, which is when we can use it, not in the morning when we can't. What are we going to do with an extra hour of light in the morning? What would you do with it? Nothing. There's nothing you can do with it because you're getting up, you're brushing your teeth and you're having your breakfast and you're sending the kids off to school. Got to go to school, kids. And, you're running around and getting the bus. Can't do anything with an extra hour of light in the morning, but you can in the evening. You can go out and enjoy yourself, spend a bit of money, honey. Revivify our moribund economy. Do our bit instead of just cooped up inside, staring at the rain, lashing against the windows. Michael texts, Iceland live in the dark during the winter, so they see no point in messing with the clocks. Yeah, they'd have to put the clocks forward about 12 hours, wouldn't they? Or about 6 months. Edward says, how did you get on when you complained to your dentist last Monday when your appointment was cancelled due to his taking a holiday? Well, see, you're very... I'm very reluctant to pick a fight with my dentist before he's actually concluded all of the treatment. I mean, I might tick him off afterwards, but not before. I mean, I've seen Marathon Man. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. Do you want to talk about masks? Oh, all right then. That's coming up. Doing a radio show, Given. All right, this masks thing. It was all about the masks this week. Health Secretary Sajid Javid, Super Saj, Sajman Jav, earlier this week suggested MPs and ministers should wear a face mask in the crowded House of Commons. His Sajness clearly did not get the memo. The Tories don't wear face masks in the House of Commons because it associates them with the virus in the minds of the viewers. They want to be dissociated from it in the minds of the public. So we get the Labour benches all masked up and looking frightened and clearly in the midst of a pandemic, while the Tory benches are masked less and so seem strong and past the pandemic. It's visuals. It's just PR. It's the political game. It's all about winning at whatever cost. And then we have that performance artist who uses fake politeness as a weapon, that etiolated ghoul, Smug.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
When asked the perfectly reasonable question about why the Tories are not setting an example while 120 people die of the virus every day, Smug said that Tory MPs do not need to wear coverings in the House of Commons because Tory MPs know each other and have a convivial, fraternal spirit. He's not stupid enough to actually think that. It's a game to him, point scoring. While 120 people die of the virus every day, he's playing one-upmanship word games trying to belittle his opponents. You know, just like Jesus would. I mean, let's just think about that. 120 people die of this thing a day. That's as many as you would get inside a commercial airliner. Do you think that if a commercial airliner was smashing into the ground in this country every day with a loss of every life on board, that we might be doing something to avoid that? Or at least it might be top of the news? I mean, it's not like it's not like it's happening everywhere. We're now the worst performing country in Europe. Again. Under the same management that brought us the worst death rate on earth outside of the US and Brazil. Countries with many hundreds of millions of people more than we have. And instead of helping us to make the right choice by taking visible precautions, that same government are instead telling us to do one thing while doing the opposite themselves. Again. And trying to be archly witty about it and hugging themselves in delight about how awfully clever they are. I mean, have you ever seen anyone so absolutely thrilled with himself as Smug? And the actual Health Secretary, Sajman Jav, suggested MPs and ministers should wear a mask in the Commons, you know, considering how crowded it is and all. And you would expect from this circus of ineptitude, Downing Street declined to back him, insisting that masks are a matter of personal judgment. What can that possibly mean? How can you make a personal judgment when the wearing of a mask is not for your protection, it's to protect others from what you might have? I mean, what thought process are we talking about here? To come to your own judgment? I mean, the most selfish will take no precautions to save others, leaving the unselfish exposed to possible death whether they wear masks or not. It's like saying that stopping at a red light is a matter of personal judgment. Of course, if you're in a hatchback, it already is.
Correct.
On Wednesday, Sajman Jav, Super Saj, the Health Secretary, called for Tories to set a good example by masking up to help avoid COVID restrictions being reimposed. And number 10 appeared surprised that Javid had issued the call to set a good example and declined to back his advice. Because setting a good example isn't in the script, is it, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
So Smug was grilled on the subject in the Commons, and he said, there is no advice to wear face masks in workplaces. He said the advice on crowded spaces is with crowded spaces with people that you don't... The advice on crowded spaces is with people that you don't know. We on this side know each other. That's not in the biblical... I presume that he didn't mean it in the biblical sense.
Disgusting.
Know each other. He said, we on this side have a more convivial and fraternal spirit and therefore are following the guidance of Her Majesty's government. Oh, Her Majesty's government. Aren't they magisterial?
No.
And the Twitterverse went into spasms of outrage, rather missing the point that he only said it to get one over on the Scottish MP who asked him about it. Games. Slyly implying that the superior Tories get on with each other while MPs from other inferior parties don't. That was the point of what he said. Had nothing to do with masks or anything else. It's just a game. Point scoring. Just having fun, you know. Why shouldn't he be having fun? I mean, the downturn in the economy and the economic disaster that is Brexit for us little people won't affect him at all. In fact, he just gets richer. And his fans seem determined to vote for him even as they bury their dead and queue for those uplifting food banks. It's the same with the whole government. I mean, they're doing just fine, thank you very much. It's why they always seem to be smirking. They're getting richer and getting away with it. And they can rely on their fans voting for them because they have been persuaded that it's all okay as long as the other side are upset. It's just so easy for them. If only there wasn't a mountain of dead people in their rearview mirror, it might not seem so bad. And the return of mandatory face coverings in certain settings is one of the measures contained in the government's Plan B, which comes as a surprise to me. I didn't know they had a Plan A. Health bosses are freaking out, urging ministers to implement that plan now, fearing of a winter crisis in the NHS. COVID-19 cases spiking massively upwards. But ministers are resisting, insisting they remain focused on the vaccine rollout. How's that going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Coming to a stuttering halt. And their popularity just keeps going ever upwards. There is no amount of pain up with which we will not put. I'm on a roll now. Twice I've got that sentence right. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I can't believe it. Howard texts, £8 a pint in Soho. Yes, but a pint of what? Well, that's a good point, Howard. I mean, if it's gin, then that's just fine. Tequila, absolutely.
Booze.
Beer, it's a no from me. I once ordered... I came back from Italy. This is, I don't know, more than a decade ago when I went on holiday. I used to go on holiday. Can you believe that?
No.
And in my dim, distant memory, I remember going to Italy, and you get the most fantastic coffee there. Everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. You can get it in a 5-star hotel or in a cart in a park. Everywhere you get coffee, it's fantastic. You get espresso. If it's not breakfast, you drink an espresso. And, you order a double espresso, and, wow, your mind just goes... It's like drugs. And so I came back with a taste of that, and I went to a famous coffee place in Soho and ordered a double espresso. Now, their single espresso was £2.40. And... two double espressos. He said that'll be £9.60, please. What? So he charged me twice the price of a single for a double. Now that's not what you do. You just add 10p for a double, or 20p at most. You don't charge twice. £9.60 for 2 tiny cups of coffee. So I balked at that, and I said, "You're joking, aren't you?" And in the Soho manner, he took them off the counter and threw them down the sink. Well, good thing too. I wasn't going to pay for them. Last time I go there, if indeed it still exists. Is anything? Does anything still exist in Soho? Is there anything still open? 0345 6060 973. Hey, look at the time. It's 11:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Zora Solomon.
I think he's portraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Thanks, Bodge. You're the best. 0345 6060 973. Burton on Trent. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Nick. Hello.
Alex.
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm afraid what you've struck upon here is a very agreeable phone call.
Oh, no.
I know. Right. So basically, I've got COVID at the moment, right?
What, you got it right
COVID.
Now?
Yeah, I've got it right now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, you're on the phone talking to me.
I know. You're at distance, I'm pretty sure. You'll be okay, won't you? Yeah.
I don't like the question in your voice.
Anyway, I've got COVID because, and this is the key. I've got it because my daughter caught it from school. So basically, like last Friday, there were 3 cases in my daughter Livy's class, and the school emailed to say go and get a PCR test for your child. But then we were told that whilst we were waiting for the results, that they could go back to school.
Oh.
So I know. So that test was negative, right? And then on Monday, someone else in our class got COVID, and then we're told the same. Go and get a PCR. This time, I chose to keep Livy off whilst we waited for the result, but it's too late. So she's tested positive. Subsequently, so did I. Subsequently, so did lots of other people in our class, and then they shut they shut the class down, and then a couple of other classes as well. They just sent them all home.
That seems to be a fault in the system. I mean, I'm a dope, but even I can figure out that you don't send people back before you've got the result of their test.
Oh God, Nick, this is the problem. When I did a bit of journalism, and I looked into it, and I realised very simply that they had just taken advice from the local outbreak team, who subsequently are taking advice from the government.
Oh,
so Sajid Javid on Wednesday is saying, we're about to hit 100,000 cases a day. Go and get a booster jab. Wear masks. And then he says, oh, by the way, don't worry, we've got this great antiviral vaccine on the way, which might be around by the end of the year. So that's great. That's great. See, my response to that is, come on, there's a direct link between the problem I've just described and the spread of COVID, and the solution is not a vaccine, not at this stage. I mean, you can just hear the kind of the PR cogs going around in Sajid Javid's head as he's being questioned about, how maybe we should be changing our behaviour and looking into sort of local guidance and policy before we start mucking about with it.
We hear nothing from the government more than lessons must be learned. We were learning lessons.
Yeah.
They don't learn a lesson from what they're doing at this minute, let alone from something that happened in the past. The only thing that makes any sense to me is that they are trying to remove, like I said just now, they're trying to dissociate themselves from the virus in the minds of the public. They want it behind them, and it doesn't really. The consequences are a secondary consideration to clinging on to power. If they can just associate the Labour Party with the virus, then people will think, oh, yeah, that's right, it's all Keir Starmer's fault, because he's the bloke who's wearing a mask.
Well, I agree. And also, everything you just said actually in your introduction before me was pretty much everything I was going to say. So it might end up being goodbye in a second or so. But anyway, the thing is, you think back to this time last year, when they cocked all that up as well, didn't they? When we were cases were rising. And
the worst response of any country on earth, I think, in the first wave.
Completely, totally, woefully inept way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
But then what came along after that was, they said, oh, yeah, well, don't worry, though, because there's a vaccine on the way. Now we're a year ahead, and we're going through exactly the same thing. And it's so obvious to me that, you know, this kind of PR engine, as you just said, is, you know, they want to disassociate themselves from, you know, any kind of local changes, which would include stuff like mask wearing and social distancing. And they think that the way around it is just by sort of pushing this vaccine message. So you sort of look into Sajid Javid's sort of cold, you know, dead face, you know, when he's being quizzed by all these journalists about, you know, maybe we should actually sort of change things, you know, where we live before we start, you know, injecting ourselves all over again. He sort of goes, no, don't worry. No, go and get your booster jab. And by the way, we've got an antiviral one on the way as well. Well,
it's actually the same approach. It's the same approach as global warming. They keep saying, oh well, you know, in the future we'll invent this thing that will cure the problem. So it's not an issue.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's laughable, really. But I mean, the thing is, though, if they want to stop the spread, the spread of the virus, they've got to start looking at the way they're managing the situation at schools, because, you know, so many people I know where I live now have got it, and that's because the kids have got it from school because of this stupid local guidance about them being there whilst you wait for a test.
That just seems like the dumbest thing I've heard today, and it's a packed list.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I've spoken to a couple of people who are my friends, and they've sort of put a question mark over why I'm challenging all of this. So, but yeah, most people have gone, that's just madness.
Yeah. Well, it don't make no sense to me. But then neither does anything else that's happened over the last 2 years. All right. Thanks for the bad news. Hey, what does it feel like, Alex?
It's a bit sweaty, and my throat's a bit horrible, and I'm a bit dizzy. And I've been sort of comedy clumsy at the moment, sort of dropping stuff all over the place and bumping into things, but it's not so bad. Hey, Nick, listen, before I go, I've been listening to you since the 90s, and
wow.
You used to, crazy. You used to do a lightning round, and I think you should bring that back just now and again.
Well,
you know,
let me think about that.
No.
Just do it. just do it. Boris should.
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
Let me think about it. All right. Thanks a lot, Alex. Thanks for describing your symptoms to us.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. He's feeling dizzy, but not in a good way. Tony texts, me and my missus are both very patriotic and still very angry. We are having a Brexit Christmas dinner, no Brussels. Well, good thing too. Brussels sprouts? No, freedom sprouts. Sedley texts, does this mean the clock in my car is going to be wrong for the next 6 months? Yeah. Well, if yours is anything like mine, then yes. Oh, by the way.
Warning!
If you learn nothing else from this show, then you will have learned nothing else from this show, which is kind of disappointing because this is a fact-packed show. Don't do what I did, stupid moron, and not change the clock in your car, but then rely on that clock. Because I parked up in a place that you could park between, I think, like 11 and 4, either side of which it's a bus lane. And I got there at 3, and I thought, okay, well, you can park there till 4. No problem. I've got an hour. I'll nip to the shops and get some stuff and come back. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I hadn't put my clock forward in the car, so it wasn't 3. It was already 4, and I'd given the evil person with a book and a camera an hour to ticket me. Not evil, of course, just doing their job. Fortune it cost me. Neil emails, went to see King at Junction in Cambridge. Does this make any sense? What's King? What's the junction? Where's Cambridge? It says, I went to see King at the Junction in Cambridge this evening. Had a punt at the pint shop beforehand. £9.20.
What?
You've got to be kidding me. £9.20 for a pint. He says it's 8.5% alcohol by volume. Wow, that's like Cough syrup, 8.5%. Paul says, I think the clocks go forward and back because someone's Uncle Freddie did not like flying his Junker bomber in the dark. I've got no idea what that means. I mean, I know what the words mean individually, but not in the order in which you put them. Who's Uncle Freddie? Don't tell me. Gordon says, how about we put the clock forward an hour every spring and never put it back? It would be different, and after 24 years, we would get back to where we started. After Brexit, we can do anything. Well, that's an excellent idea, Gordon. You start, and tell us how it goes. We'll maybe follow you later. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. That podcast that I mentioned earlier about it's called the Nick Abbot Habit. It's old shows clipped up to just concentrate on the funny. And as I said, it's really weird listening back to shows, which I have to do to, get all the clips, from before all this started. Oh, what a lovely, peaceful and innocent time we had in January 2020, when word was coming over from China. And I think at the moment that I've clipped the pieces for this latest podcast, I think something like 4 people had died in the world, or maybe 40. And it certainly hadn't reached here. Well, why would it? The stuff that was coming, it just seems so weird to be listening to me and the callers talking about it as though it's something very, very far away and couldn't possibly get here. Goodness me, no. Also, by the way, we were the show that I just took the latest podcast from. We were 1 week away from our glorious exit from the evil European socialist overlords. Before we were going to bong ourselves out of Europe. It's a half an hour of amusement. If you wish to be amused, it's right up your alley. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. The Nick Abbot Habit. Message from the government.
Do not panic! Do not panic! We are trained professionals!
Oh, okay, go ahead and panic. Pete says, why is it the bottom bit of Cornettos are always broken? I'd vote for anyone who could solve this vital problem, says Pete. The bottom bit? What, you mean where it comes to a point? Or is that what a Cornetto is? What's a Cornetto?
It's the ice cream with the chocolate at the bottom.
In a cone?
In the cone, yeah.
In a cone, as in Cornetto, right. Yes, that's right. It's got chocolate in the bottom. So yummy. Other ice creams are available. Broken. Well, it's user error, I expect, Pete. Be more gentle with your Cornetto. Treat it lovingly, and it will love you right back. This says, on the same theme, this anonymous text says, I'm sat listening, eating, thinking how chocolate bars are getting smaller. Have you noticed? No, you're getting bigger. Dartford. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick.
Dave.
Right.
Yes, good, thanks.
You were saying about the mask wearing.
Yes.
Well, a fortnight ago, they had the Labour conference.
Yeah. Fortnight tomorrow.
You see it?
A fortnight ago.
Yesterday, fortnight ago.
When was
none
it?
of them they weren't wearing masks.
None of them were wearing masks?
No. Starmer was up there.
What, when he was speaking?
Yeah, well, they had a line, don't they? They're all up, and most of the audience didn't have masks on.
Right. But you can't... Right, okay. Well, I don't know about that, but I, like the rest of the country, didn't watch it.
Oh, that's why then. And then I nearly got through on Ian Dale's programme on cross questions to ask him. And it didn't happen. But
Right.
I thought
So
you
you fell at that hurdle, but leapt over mine. I see. That's nice.
So you didn't see them anyway. Your listeners, some of them may have seen it
Yeah, it's setting an example. You see, nobody really watches the conference, televised parts of it. Nobody watches that. Like 0 people, not at all. It's on in the daytime for a start. Plus, boring. Who cares? We'll just watch it, the bit in the news, which will be the roundup. We don't watch any of the other stuff because it's just too dull. But people do actually see Prime Minister's questions because they put that footage, on during the week frequently, and it's the setting an example part.
I wondered why they could go through the conference because all Labour supporters were there. They didn't need to wear the mask, but when they're with the opposite parties, and obviously the government, they've got to wear masks.
Setting an example.
And I see LBC is...
I'm not wearing a mask right now, if that's what you were going to say.
No, LBC started the Labour Party commercial again.
Commercial?
Yeah.
What are they selling? Carpets?
No.
Are they selling non-broken Cornettos? I'll buy 6. A commercial. The big red party on Petticoat Lane. Thanks a lot, Dave. 0345 6060 973. Gordon, I can't believe I can remember that. That's not still running, that Abbot, is it?
No.
Is that a yes? The Petticoat Lane one, not the other one. I've got no idea which one he's talking about. Gordon texts, you are very good at that Jacob Rees-Mogg voice, Nick. Paul says, I thought I spotted Marc Francois with a mask around his neck. But it just turned out to be another neck. He is just a giant, plump bundle of fun, isn't he? Ito tweets, summertime advances clocks. Full stop. Does that make sense?
No.
Summertime advances clocks. The default time is the one we'll have in a week. If we stop switching to summertime as you campaign, we'll still have sunset at 4 p.m. in winter. This won't change. We'll also have sunset earlier in summer. Stop moaning. Well, first of all, Ito, you can shove it. Second, that's not what I'm suggesting. The default time says who? Who says the default time is anything at all? The default time can be whatever we set it to. It's just time. It's all random. I mean, the units of time are not set in stone, and they haven't always been this way. I mean, for a while there used to be 10 hours in the day and 10 days in the week. I saw that on something or other. It was probably in Folkestone. Some statue of, I can't remember what it was, but this was the information that it imparted. Oh, it was part of the Folkestone triennial. There was a clock with 10 hours to not 12. With the information that it used to be like that for a little while in, I think, France. You know, French people, they had 10 hours a day and 10 days a week for a little while. They tried that out. See how it, and it could be that way now. And the only thing that really determines our time is the spinning of the globe and the track around the sun. I mean, at some point, about 2 months away, we're going to reach a point in space. It's almost like going through this imaginary hoop in space, which constitutes our new year. Of course, it won't be the actual new year. It's sort of like a few days late for some stupid reason that's lost in the fog of time. But no, I'm suggesting that we don't default back to GMT, that we have GMT plus 1 or 2. all year long. Brighter in the evening. Better. Brighter, better. Brighter, better, best. Get that woman off the Antiques Roadshow. She'll explain it to us. I love that show. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Have you heard about this scheme for fat vouchers? Yeah, vouchers for being fat, if you can believe that. Well, I might get to that in a moment. Exciting, no?
No.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
I don't know what he's talking about. I never fell out of love with wine.
Booze.
I really love you. You're my best friend. I love it. But we're gonna run out.
Oh no.
Of what? I don't think he was very specific about what it is that we're actually going to run out of. And we're going to go into restaurants and order just a glass, not a bottle. Funny. No. We're gonna do our bit to save supplies by only ordering a glass. What, so as to leave more for other people? I don't think so. It's a no from me. This text says, the government have put all their eggs in the booster basket. The booster jab will save us just like the COVID jab has, as long as you ignore the 1,000 deaths a week, 40,000 COVID infections a day, and an NHS on its knees. Yes, the government would like you to ignore that.
Thank you.
We appreciate your cooperation. I mean, Boris Johnson will be on any moment making a joke. He is a funny man, isn't he? This says, make sure you have a lateral flow test when you get home. I absolutely will. And Paul says, am I the only person in the country that hasn't had one of those tests yet? I haven't stuck anything up my nose or down my throat at all. Not once. I don't even know what a lateral flow test looks like. Paul tweets, hi Nick, my daughter got COVID a few weeks ago and it was nothing to her really, just a cough. Also, nobody else in the family caught it off her, so it seems to me people are experiencing different outcomes. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are experiencing different outcomes. Some people, it doesn't affect them in any way, shape or form. I've got ill. You know, going back to, as I was saying before, I do this podcast called The Nick Abbot Habit, and I'm just listening to shows that I used to do in like a couple of years ago, and this was January 2020, and I was ill in January with something that I put down to like a bad oyster. But in retrospect, I'm not sure it was, because I had a very similar feeling a couple of months later when I actually took a day off work, if you can believe that. I haven't had a day off work for something other than throwing up, like ever. I don't ever remember taking a day off work, apart from that one time. And it was very, very similar to something that I had like a few months later. So I may have been one of the first people in this country to get the killer disease. And it affected me just a bit, like one day, and it was over. A couple of times, maybe 3 times I went through the same thing. But other people, of course, have very much more serious complications, like up to and including their demise. Phil says, but Nick, if we didn't put the clocks back, how could we say, isn't it getting dark early to everyone for a week? Let's have a call in Manchester. Louise.
Oh, hi there, Nick.
Louise.
Hi, are they building the asylums anytime soon?
Why? Are they madmen taking them over?
Well, they say we're all going mad. There's a lot of mental health going about, isn't there? Wonder why.
I don't know.
Anyway, financial finagling. Don't worry, we won't mention any banks or anything. Today I received a letter from my bank
What?
And it said, read the leaflet enclosed for further information. There's no leaflet enclosed for a start.
Yeah, we have not included the leaflet for your convenience.
Yeah, and these changes, I've got a new card and whatever, terms and conditions, T's and C's, are going to start the 31st of December this year.
Right.
So if you want to bugger off from the bank you're in, you've got a very short time to sort of arrange it. But anyway, Brexit and banking. Here we go, that's one of them. Our current accounts are designed to be used in the UK. So we're changing our terms to reflect the effect of the UK leaving the EU.
Right, these are your new terms. Let's see if I can follow what we've learned so far. This is you reading the terms and conditions of your new bank card, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So they have rewritten the terms and conditions in celebration of us leaving the evil European socialist experiment. No! Right.
Yep, so it says and respect, if you don't respect, they won't tolerate any discrimination at all, and we can close down your account immediately.
If you don't respect, respect what?
If you don't respect people, discrimination, if you discrimination, they won't tolerate it. So any racial or other discrimination towards our colleagues, we can now close your account immediately because of this kind of unacceptable behaviour.
Right. Well, control yourself, Louise.
Well, I always do, except when somebody pushes in front of me in the bank when I was hurt.
I don't know what they're talking about, but talking about respecting their staff. You don't see their staff anymore. You go into a bank. I went to a bank the other week, and there was literally no one. There was no counter, and it was like walking into a sort of
space capsule.
A little bit, yeah. It was like this is not a bank I'm in. I thought it looks like those. If you go to an airport or like a motorway service station, there'll be a little room off to the side where they've got the fruit machines. You know the kind of thing. Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like a little room where adults go to waste their money on fruit machines, because it was just a bank of machines which would either take your money or spew it out, and no one appeared to work there. It was just so weird. There were a couple of kids, literally without uniform. They were just sort of lounging on one of the sofas playing video games. I think they just come in to sit down. That's what banks are now.
Well, this is all the new thing coming about next year, and also, that in the supermarket, they're trying out no checkouts at all. Just
about blooming time. I mean, all those poor people that sit on that conveyor belt going boop, 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 boop all day long. I mean, that would just drive you out of your mind, wouldn't it?
I let a guy in today in front of me because he had to get back to work because he only had about less than an hour.
Yeah.
And he'd just come from work and he picked up a few bits for his meal.
Yeah.
And he said he'd got to eat quick and then go back to work again.
But this is the wrong procedure. You're supposed to take your food to your desk and eat it there while you continue to work.
Well, I don't know what sort of work he had. I didn't ask him, but the poor guy looked absolutely knackered.
Yeah, that's somebody. That's somebody with a normal work day, Louise. You and I can only dream of it.
Yeah, what happened to enlightenment in the age of the computers?
Yeah, what happened to all of those labour-saving devices? They don't seem to have saved us any labour at all. Those time-saving devices, well, time's up. And you lose. All right, thanks a lot, Louise. 0345 6060 973. Jim texts, Pete should have taken his Cornetto back to the shop where he bought it and complained. You should sue them, Pete. I wouldn't stand for that. Adrian says, my grandma always said never turn the clock backwards. Keep going round forwards because turning it backwards breaks the clock. I've never questioned this before and I wonder if it's true. I've always thought that too. It may well be true with older timepieces. I don't know whether it's true with a watch, but I just do that. And then of course you've got if it's got a watch that's got a calendar, then you've got to go all the way around the month to the beginning again. But, it's only twice a year. Stop complaining.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. I want to do vouchers for getting fat in a bit. But first, here's a call in Bromley. Hello, Luke.
Hi, Nick. Hello. Good evening. Right, what do you think about traffic lights? I mean, this is my theory. I've just come home, driving along through Orpington, and I didn't stop. Everything was green, and it's like something occurred to me. Why do traffic lights actually function at night time, apart from no reason at all? There's no traffic, so why have lights? Perhaps they should turn these things off at night time. What do you reckon?
I think that there's something in that. I find driving home at night, when there's practically no one else on the roads, particularly the roads that I take, quite often you'll get stopped at a traffic light that isn't on a junction. It's just a crossing light for people. It's like a pedestrian light. Right. And for no apparent reason, it will stop me, even though, like a good boy, I'm not breaking the speed limit. Now, I could understand if it would clock your speed ahead of time and stop you, because you've been a bad boy. But it's not that. Yeah. So it just seems to be random.
So there must be many nights where you finish a shift, you're driving home, and you end up tapping the dashboard at some traffic lights, no traffic around, and you're just waiting there. That's called green. That's called emissions, isn't it? I mean, we're trying to go green.
Exactly. We're trying to green up the place. Precisely.
I mean, so in the gift of trying to please Boris, which I'm not totally for this whole thing, but anyway, turn the lights off at night time. If there's no traffic, why have traffic lights?
Yeah, I think you've got something there. That does make sense. Yeah. Plus, you'll save electricity.
It'll save time. It'll save. You'll get home quicker. Listen, do you know where the first traffic light ever was? I thought this was quite interesting.
The first ever traffic light.
Yep. Without googling it.
The Savoy Hotel.
It was outside the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, close.
It was one traffic light, obviously, first one, and it was operated by a policeman. And it was to stop too many horses coming over the bridge, stopping people, I suppose, because obviously too many horses and carriages were just coming over. So they had this big gas light thing in 1860 something.
And,
so there you go.
They've been gaslighting us ever since.
Yeah. Wait.
All right, thanks a lot, Luke. Hey, this every now and again, almost by accident, this show becomes educational, yes?
No.
0345 6060 973. Nick Abbot, LBC.
You've got a good, your mind is a little bit, three-dimensional.
I have no idea what you mean. 0345 6060 973. Chris texts, everyone in the Labour conference had to show a negative test to get in. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, not hypocritical at all. Everyone who went to the Labour conference had to show a negative test or double vaccination in order to get in, which is probably what informs a lack of mask wearing, if that is indeed what happened there. Like I said, I didn't watch it because, I'm allergic to being bored. Nobody watches the conference. Even the people that go to those conferences don't watch the conference. They're busy having their hot assistants take down some dictation.
Disgusting.
Kate texts, Nick, my Cornettos are not broken at the bottom. Is your listener letting them defrost a bit before freezing them? If so, are they soggy at the bottom? I freeze them as soon as they're delivered to my door, says Kate. Well, anything to avoid a soggy bottom. Kate. Brighton. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, are you a good boy, Nick? I
guess so, yeah, every now and again.
Yeah, I wonder, are you green?
I'm a good boy, I am.
Yeah. Are you green? Have you got green...
fingers?
Yeah, or no, green...
toes?
Green... what is it? Green...
Cagoule?
Green principles or whatever, No, I just wonder whether I'm imagining it or whether I keep hearing about green initiatives from the government.
Yes.
Various green things going on in the last few weeks.
Yeah. They're going to magic new technology out of thin air in order to solve all of our problems.
Yeah.
That is government policy.
Yeah, because I keep hearing these green, and I don't know if they're actually proper initiatives or just like they might tax all single-use items, and not just plastics, anything that could be single-use, I guess.
Well, their big news is everyone's got to replace their boilers with heat pumps.
Yeah.
Something of a problem with that is we don't have remotely enough heat pump engineers. Because, funny, you can't actually just nail one onto the side of your house. This is not a DIY job. You've got to have an expert come over and do it for you. And we ain't got no experts.
Yeah. There was also this thing about grants for heat pumps. Yeah, and like you say about the heat pumps, I think it's more than just installing a heat pump. You basically got to re-engineer your house. So you have to install insulation and all that sort of thing.
All of that sort of thing.
All that malarkey, yeah.
Yes. So that's not going to happen, but it won't come to bite Bodge on the bottom because he'll be long gone by the time his the time scale is up. Everything's going to be in the future, at which point he won't be around anymore to take the flak when it hasn't happened.
But he seems to be enjoying jumping the bandwagon. I keep hearing him blabbering on about something, a green this and a green that. And
blabbering on? How offensive.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah.
But what do you think, this COP conference in 2 weeks' time, is it?
Yes.
What do you think is going to come out of that? I don't
know. Blah, blah. Just as Greta said, it's going to be nothing, and you know it.
No, I thought we might get, solve the world's problems.
It will be, as before, they will agree, as with one voice, that it really is awful and something should be done. And that'll be it.
Yeah, I think the main problem is that all the big countries are not going to be there. I don't know if China's going to be. Russia isn't coming.
Apparently Russia, rootin' tootin' shooting Putin ain't coming. And China, they're probably not going to be here. And America are only arriving because probably it's en route to somewhere more interesting. I've got no idea. It ain't going to amount to a hill of beans.
Yeah. Well, we will see. It should be interesting.
I suppose so.
Should make some good news anyway.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. He just wants to be entertained. Kate says... Oh, no, I've read that one. Kate's the person with the soggy bottom. Paul says, the Tory conference is boring. I end up just counting the upside-down smiles. Gaz tweets, shortage of wine come Christmas because of Brexit. That's a bridge too far. Now, come on. Only allowed to order one glass when dining out to save supplies. We're doomed. No one's going to do that, especially at Christmas, because it's not about Jesus' birthday. It's about consuming as much as you possibly can.
Booze.
Of that and everything else that you can get your hands on. Buying stuff that nobody needs with money that you haven't got, that they won't want as soon as they unwrap it. They'll be regifting it or selling it on eBay. Oh, God, eBay is going to be absolutely stuffed to the gills with people's unwanted Christmas presents. Just save your money, people. This text says, the only problem with ordering wine by the glass is that some wine glasses are so big they hold pretty much a full bottle of wine. Yeah, those are my favourites. It is, it's probably not helping, actually, that if you order a glass of wine, you are, in most cases, getting a third of a bottle. I think that's probably not helping our relationship with alcohol.
Booze.
Exactly. John says, unfortunately, I now realise I am allergic to wine. If I have 3 bottles, I get dizzy and fall over. Well, you want to watch that, John. Sounds like a serious medical condition. David says, if inflation gets any higher, we'll end up like Scandinavia, only without the knitwear. Yeah, and without all that hot hygge action.
Disgusting.
You know, all that the Scandinavians doing hot hygge with each other. None of that. Jim says, alcohol shortage because of Brexit. That's going to be a game changer. Maybe Smug will tell people to stop whining. Get it?
Stop whining.
More listeners with material.
Oh, no.
I'm really blasting through these. I'm doing very well this... Oh, God, no, I'm not actually. I've got about 2 feet to go. 2 feet of messages left to go. Still, I've got 30 minutes of the show left. If I just concentrate on these, I might be able to get through them. Alcohol shortage because of Brexit. Okay. Kay emails, in a couple of months, I will have run out of fat. What does that mean? What with the universal credit cut, can I get... oh, I see, right. Can I get and use these fat vouchers to get fatter? Where can I view the T's and C's? I was too skinny before the uplift, and I will get too skinny again very soon, no doubt, says Kay. Hey, Kay.
Stop whining.
Yeah, fat vouchers. We're going to get fat vouchers, have you heard? This is tremendous news. I guess I haven't got time now. I'll do it after the news. Simon texts, I invented a friend for an ice cream on our seafront, one large and one small, a tiny flake in each. I was charged £6.60. What? For 2 ice creams? With a tiny flake, one large and one small. I bet it wasn't even ice cream, but I bet it was that foam they squirt out of the machine. That's not ice cream. I've got no idea what it is. What's it made of, that stuff that squirts out of the machine? With, the stuff that comes in ridges. And do they ever clean that machine? I mean, can you... If you had to bet one way or the other, you would probably go with whatever is in the bottom of that machine has been there for decades. Probably since the 1970s. What is that stuff? It's not ice cream. It doesn't melt. It maintains its shape in the hottest of heat. Patrick says, avoid dental problems and go for checkups as often as possible. Surely you know the drill by now. Oh, please, will you stop with the jokes? I'm blaming my glamorous assistant in the absence of anybody else that's here. It's just her and me in the building, so it's got to be her fault. Mary texts, sounding like Uncle Albert during the war, Sounding like Uncle Albert. During the war, we had double summertime. It was light until 10 p.m. Well, it's light until 10 p.m. in the summer now. We now live in a world where the street lights are turned off. Double summertime would provide a light of an evening. Safe journey home, Nick, says Mary. Appreciate it, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, we absolutely should. Every single year. People who aren't just trying to make some political point about, if the government wants us to do it, then it must be right and proper. They've looked at it robustly, which seems to be their favourite word. Everything's robust with this government. Have you noticed? If it's not got a number, if it's not 56% more and £13.5 billion extra, and it's all just a blizzard of numbers about which they have thought robustly. Whereas I can't actually think of anybody who is less like the dictionary definition of robust. Bodge? Yes. Paul says, Star of Bethlehem, more sat-nav, I suppose. Star of Bethlehem, more sat-nav, I suppose. I don't know what that means. Probably something religious. This says, in America, lights flash after 12 a.m., I think, until 5, and basically become stop signs, so if clear, you can go. You can also turn right on red lights at junctions, if clear, at all times, which is very sensible. Yes, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but America is right. What? You can turn on a red light if it's clear, and at night, I think lights do become stop signs, which you can pay attention to or not, as the case may be. And always exchange gunfire if anybody changes lane in front of you. Those are the rules. 0345 6060 973. At least they are in Miami. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. Look at the time, it's 12:30.
He is a very sick and dangerous man.
Sick and dangerous. Philip tweets, Nick, when I last went to Corsica a few years ago, they only had 3 sets of traffic lights in all of the southern part of the country. Locals told me they have among the lowest rates of accidents in France, as people actually look when they cross a junction. Can you believe that?
No.
Well, we're too busy. Got a lot of things on. Got no time to look. We're getting the seat just so, and making a call and texting our mates and fiddling with the radio. Fiddling with ourselves.
Disgusting.
Too busy to look. Pat tweets, hey Nick, you reminded me about the middle of January 2020. I came down with the worst cold I've ever had. Normally if I get one it lasts about 3 or 4 days. This one went on for weeks, with headaches and a sore throat and a cough. Never had that before. I wonder if it was it. Yes. It is interesting. I know I keep saying this, but it is kind of illuminating, because you just forget pretty much everything that's ever happened to you. I mean, the minutiae of your everyday existence, the little stories that come up on the news and they fade away in a day, and you just forget them all. But that's why it's kind of interesting to go back on old shows. Like it's over a year and a half ago now that I'm listening to pull clips out for the podcast that I do called the Nick Abbot Habit. And all that stuff, all that small stuff that at the time we didn't think anything of. And somebody else said, there's so many people who have gone down with some sort of like a cold type thing in the building. And at the time you don't take any notice of it, because you hadn't, the COVID thing hadn't really unfolded. But now looking back, you think, that's what that was, in all probability. I think a lot of people were getting sick a lot earlier than we imagine was the case now. Because you just forget all that stuff, because it wasn't front of mind. You just thought, I'm just feeling really ill, not I've got this invisible menace. Because it was something that was abroad, something that was in China. I can't believe he's trying to open his own social media site called Truth.
Oh, shut up!
He's a funny guy, isn't he? No. He used to be amusing. Now I'm just afraid. It's if he ever gets in again, it's curtains for humankind. This text says, in its desperate attempt to remain relevant in today's world, the last thing this country would do is relinquish Greenwich Mean Time, the standard by which the world's time zones are set. That's right. It's British time. That's why we're going to be suffering through the darkness for the next 6 months, and it'll be too miserable to go out. We'll be stuck indoors. British. Great. Stratford, Naz.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Naz.
Hi, so loving this conversation tonight.
Thanks, Naz.
No worries. So basically, the first thing I was going to say is about the traffic lights. So this is a trick, and I swear it works. Yeah. So if it's empty, like if the roads are dead, and then you're out of traffic lights, if you flash at the traffic light,
yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. Does not work.
It literally just worked for me now.
No.
I promise you, try it.
It's a coincidence, Naz. There must be many times when you flash it and nothing happens, right?
Yeah, go on.
Right, so it's a coincidence. Just a coincidence.
No way, that's fine. Second one I was going to say, okay, so I was just on A12 just now, right? And they've put it down to one lane, and it's 20 miles an hour, and everybody's just going. It's just like, it's getting really, really busy, even though it's just past midnight, right? So driving along 20 miles an hour, all these cones. There's nobody there. Right. There's no work, man. Nope. There's nothing. Mm-hmm. What's going on?
Yeah, what is going on? Exactly. It's like they lay a cone by the side of the road, and everybody's got to reduce their speed by 50 mile an hour.
It's
so
ridiculous.
It takes 3 weeks to get to where you're going. Yeah, it drives me insane.
It's one of those. And third point, I was going to talk about the wine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I reckon they're saying this about the wine shortage because they want everybody to rush out and start buying wine.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. You're gonna see it everywhere. Toilet rolls, forget toilet rolls, it's all about the wine. Everyone's going to go and get the wine.
Yeah, if you drink enough wine, you won't mind if you run out of toilet rolls. It's like who cares, right? All right, thanks a lot, Naz. Keep your eyes peeled. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. I knew he was going to say the flashing the lights thing, and I don't believe that works at all, even though I do try it. And if they do change straight away once you flash your lights, you'll think, see, I've just affected that change. And if they don't change straight away, you think, well, maybe there's like a time delay. It's recognised that I've just flashed my lights. It's just not going to give me the gift of freedom straight away. It's going to make me wait for it. Craig says, the guy with the broken cornettos, I think his wife is deliberately breaking them to do his head in. I think that says more about your relationship, Craig, than his. Just saying. Epsom, Simmy.
Good morning.
Simmy.
Oh, no, it's not. Yes, good morning. I always feel I have to whisper with you because the thought of waking up my children is too much to bear.
No, don't wake up the children.
No. The reason why I'm calling is that it's to do with your statistics about Corsica.
Statistics,
and the lack of,
yes.
And the lack of accidents in Corsica. I think there's a reason for it.
There are no cars there. No one lives in Corsica. No roads?
There are plenty of roads, but there's also plenty of speed cameras. And I can tell you that we went on holiday a couple of years ago to Corsica, and my husband, who drives quite frequently overseas, our journey was an hour and a half, and he got 3 speeding tickets.
Wow, he is a terrible driver.
You can tell him that.
Well, there is no other conclusion. I mean, presumably the speed limit was posted by the side of the road, was it?
No, I don't think it was, but we saw a horrific accident as well.
Right.
But I think that's why. That's why there's no accidents.
You think
because
that everyone
have to drive like snails.
Like slowly, right? Everyone is cowed by the presence of speed cameras. Well, Exhibit A is the M25. They've got speed cameras every 3 yards on the M25, and there's always a crash on it, in it.
It's true, but you'll be lucky if you could even reach that speed on the M25.
Well, that is correct, yeah. Because there's always some like roadworks or other, and the only thing that anybody on the road pays any attention to, like really pays attention to, is if they've got the average speed cameras set up.
Absolutely.
And then everybody sticks to the posted speed limit as though their lives depended on it.
But one thing that happened to my husband, again, on the M25, my husband, the wonderful driver, we went past a little area on the M25 where there was a bridge, and there was a man having a wee. And I said to my husband, look, oh my gosh, what's he doing? And so my husband, and we were literally bumper to bumper, and my husband turned around to look at this man having a wee under this bridge, and he bumped into the car in front of us.
Oh, right.
And blame me.
Yeah, try explaining that to your insurance company. See, I thought you were going to tell me that somebody was taking a wee off the bridge, but they were under the bridge. That's better.
Under the bridge.
Right, okay, that's
better. I just wonder how many people also had the same experience as us.
See, well, urinating is very dangerous.
But it's necessary.
I suppose so. Yeah, every now and again. Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't need to on your show.
Thanks a lot, Simmy. Appreciate that information. Don't you ever call with that kind of story again. Can you believe that? Isn't that awful?
Disgusting.
0345 6060 973. Yeah, the only speed cameras that anybody ever pays attention to are the average speed cameras. And it just cows everybody. Everybody is cowed in the presence of an average speed camera. They should have them everywhere. But I shouldn't actually say that out loud because that'll give them ideas. They will have them everywhere. Well, pretty soon we'll all be clocked from space, and the moment that we stray over any given speed limit, regardless of how badly it's signposted, then money will be deducted from our account instantly. And if we don't have any money in our account anymore, well, then that's where Prissy Patel steps in. This said, or says rather, in its desperate attempt to remain relevant in today's world, the last thing this country would do is... I've read that. Wow, I am way ahead of schedule. I'm on GMT. Actually, it's the other way around, isn't it? Lorcan emails, hey Nick, you should be able to take a left through a red traffic light like you can in the United States. They do occasionally come up with something clever. Wow. So offensive to Americans. They do occasionally come up with something clever, but then on the other hand, they elected the peach powder puff president.
Oh, shut up!
Paul says Christmas number 1 to be sitting on the dock of the bay. What do you mean? Sitting on the dock of the bay waiting for the cargo ships to come in? The ones that get sent back to China? Because we haven't got anybody to unload them? What do you mean? The number 1 hit could be sitting on the dock of the bay. The people who make it, who haven't been turned around by Prissy Patel? Those people. Explain yourself, Paul. I think in order to save time, I'll just be offended now. Do you mind? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Hey, by the way, we put these shows, the Friday and Saturday night shows, out as podcasts. Now, the idea is, in order to save the planet, we take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to, you'll use less electricity, and you won't have to sell your house to pay your fuel bill. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Nick Abbott, the whole show.
50. Come on, we're running late.
Let's have a call in Guildford. Les.
Hello, Nick.
Les.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
I was just replying to, I was listening earlier, and the chap that was saying about flashing his headlights at the traffic lights to make them change.
Yes.
If you have a look at in front of traffic lights, you'll see some little thin black lines. And there's a wire loop been put in the road in front of the traffic lights. And when a car pulls up, it detects the mass of the car. It's all done by like magnetic things, and then that
magnets.
Yeah, and it changes the lights, just depending on what the cycle's set at. It's quite clever, really.
Why does it gauge the mass of the car? What's that got to do with it? How heavy it is?
Well, because the car's made of metal, you see.
Yeah.
And the motorbike's made of metal. The wheels are, and they activate the loop, and that's because it wouldn't do it if a car was all aluminium. I don't suppose it'd work much, but because you've got so much steel and stuff on the wheels, and
wow, it actually does sound as though you know what you're talking about. So where did you get this information?
Well, I used to work in the building game. I didn't make it up.
You just made it up.
I'll tell you what, though. I was listening to what you said earlier about MPs setting an example and wearing masks, and I think all the front benches on the Conservative side should wear masks, but not the ones over your mouth, the ones with the little holes in over their eyes, because they're all a bunch of bandits. And
well spotted, Les. Yeah. Okay. Good work. Thanks a lot, mate. Go on. There's more.
Yeah, well, I'll just say they got the wrong mask on.
Right, okay. All right. You're just emphasising that point. Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot, Les. I don't believe it for a moment. It's all to do with magnets? Can't be. I mean, magnets are very, very important. Magnets are why we don't fly off this spinning orb in space. Did you know that? Yeah, magnets. Because otherwise, I mean, we're spinning at 100,000 revolutions a minute, and we're going through space over 1 million miles an hour. Now, even if that isn't true, it doesn't prevent it from being a fact. And the only reason that we don't spin off into space is because magnets. It's true. But I don't believe that magnets have got anything to do with whether a light turns green or not. What's the worst is when people are doing roadworks and they shut off one lane of a road and then they put these temporary lights in. Oh, my God. They have no brains of their own. They just go through the motions. And if it's like if it's like a three-way, it's like a T-junction, or it's even worse, it's a four-way, you can be sitting there for what seems like an hour, waiting for this thing to just click through the order in which it gives everybody a green light. Painful. Just turn them off. We can organise our own selves. I mean, is there any evidence that we can't actually organise our own selves to drive like reasonable, decent human beings?
Yes.
There actually is a ton of evidence. Human beings can't drive. We had our chance and we blew it. The sooner we get replaced by robots, the better.
Affirmative.
Test text. Good morning, Nick. It's called Crazy Foam. What is? What? Oh, you're talking about the ice cream. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, it is foam. It's certainly not ice cream. I mean, I don't think it's ever been introduced to ice, and there ain't no cream in it. I mean, I don't believe there's a single molecule of dairy in that squirt. John says, I saw a sign on a chalkboard outside a pub. It read, beer shortage coming soon. You may panic buy here. I'll panic buy now to avoid panicking later. Why not? Kay tweets, with burial spaces running out, I do hope people don't start panic dying. Is that offensive? It probably is, yeah. Tunbridge. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Paul.
Yeah, the traffic light thing.
Yeah.
I've done a traffic light course.
A traffic light course?
Yes.
What does that involve?
Learning how to use traffic lights.
They have a
for
course?
Closing roads. I used to do cable TV. You'd have to close the road off.
Right. So not
So I
how
had to go
to
on a
use it,
traffic light
not how to stop on red. That's not it. You're talking about setting up traffic lights.
Yes.
Okay. You've arrived just in time, Paul. Can you make a traffic light change by flashing at it?
No.
Thank you.
It's done on sensors and timers.
Sensors?
And timers. Movement of the car going towards, all depending how the lights are set up.
Right.
So when you're saying there's temporary lights and you wait a long time, that's because I haven't turned it off of timer and put it onto movement.
Right.
And if it was on movement, it would move quicker.
So it's the stupid morons that set it up.
Yes, but lights that are permanent, they can be on timer or sensor all the time. But the temporary ones that builders put up, if they're taking too long, it's because they're on a timer. But if they change as you're approaching, it's not you flashing. They can sense the movement of your car coming towards it.
Even if it's dark?
Yes. Don't ask me how. I don't know the technical bit.
Paul, how?
Yes.
How?
I don't know. The traffic lights can sense your car coming towards it. It can sense the movement. I don't know how it can sense the movement, but that's what it does.
Is it magnets?
No.
Well, I got that wrong.
I don't think it's magnets.
Right.
Well, no, I'm not 100%. No, I don't think it's magnets.
And so how long does a course to set up traffic lights take? 2 minutes?
A week or something.
A week?
Yeah. Because you have to close off roads and stuff, so...
Yeah. Now, do they advise you on what to do with irate motorists?
No. No, not really.
Just run away?
Yes.
Set it on timer and run away?
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing it, I wouldn't be working at night to do a timer, but I just learnt the course.
Okay, so it's not your fault. Is that what you're saying? You're
definitely
absolving
not, no.
yourself of all responsibility. I don't know. You sound pretty guilty to me. All right, thanks for the good
Cheers,
news,
Nick.
Paul.
Enjoy your show.
Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. There, we've learned something, no?
No.
Little bit. It's not flashing your lights. I didn't think that would work. Just on, personal experience. Because you sit there flashing and flashing and flashing, probably waking people up in the house that's opposite. It must be so annoying. I go down a road that's got those police, the sleeping policemen, the bumps in the road. God, I hate those things. I hate them. But it makes, at night, it makes the front of the car go up naturally. And there's a house, there are houses at the end of this road, which I go down every day. And every time I go down, I think those poor people, they're getting, it must be like living in a disco. Because there's flashing lights illuminating their windows 24 hours a day. How annoying must that be? It's not my fault. I ain't done nothing. Stellatex got a massive pothole at the end of my road. Called the council, who haven't responded, so I called the police, who are looking into it. Oh, for crying out loud, will you stop with the jokes? Brian emails, my fixed energy tariff is ending and they're going to raise my payments by 286%.
What?
They said they're doing their best. I need medication. Chris says, like you, I've never ever had time off work, and yet that January that you mentioned, you were poorly. I was knocked off my feet for 5 days. Unheard of. No idea what it was. And then COVID started being mentioned in the media. Yes. There's a lot of things that happened around January 2020 that are very suspicious in retrospect. At the time, we just took them in our stride and didn't think much about it. But, thinking back, and if you wish to relive that, just the funny bits, then the Nick Abbott Habit is available on an internet near you. Just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, and everything will become clear as a bell. If you stick around, I believe that Ian Payne will delight you at 4 o'clock. But right now, in person, Richard Spur. 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 In person.